Able, and he is found a little closer to home. Able is a New Zealand fur seal, also known as a long-nosed fur seal, and they're actually more commonly found in these parts of Australia, especially right here in Sydney Harbour. Sometimes they're even found to be resting on the Opera House rocks. So Able was actually a rescued seal who was found off of Cornell Beach after suffering some pretty bad shark injuries by a cookie cutter shark. And this is Able. Make him feel nice and welcome with Keeper Jose. So you might be able to get a nice glimpse. He does have a big scar on the side of him where that cookie cutter shark did take a chunk out of him. And when they did take that chunk out of him, he was only a little pup, so it was almost half of his body. He went through a lot of rehabilitation, but due to the extent of time spent in our wildlife hospital, he was deemed unsuitable for release. So now he lives here as an ambassador for his species. Now, a big part of being a zookeeper is, of course, taking care of our animals. So one of the things that we teach of our animals is cooperative behaviors or husbandry behaviors. Now, these behaviors allow us to get nice up and close with our animals, where we can conduct daily routine health checks. These are something that we'll do at the beginning of the day before you guys are here in the zoo. So that might look like opening up their mouth for a health inspection. Looking good, Able. It might also look like having a look at their flippers. Walking around on a lot of hard surfaces, they can get cuts and bruises and calluses just like we would. So it's always really important for us to be checking over them every day to make sure that everything is looking good. Now, we also like to have a look at those rear flippers. You might be able to see, it might be hard to see, but they actually have 4 grooming claws on their rear flippers, which help them to groom through that coat. But checking to make sure that they're all in tip-top shape is something that's really important as our job. Now, we also have a close look at their eyes and their ears. Having a close look at their eyes is especially important with a lot of our elderly seals who might be losing some eyesight as they get older. So regularly maintaining that and checking that is something that is also super important. Now, we do also teach some more extreme behaviors. Things like laying still and being able to be tactile with them and applying pressure across their back and their stomach. Now, this is particularly important, especially when having them down laying still, as we can use these behaviors for more complex medical procedures. For example, doing something like an x-ray or even a blood draw, which we have done with some of our seals here. In fact, it was Murphy, the one who got the blood draw as well. But it is also important for our female seals because we do run a breeding program here. So if we do have a suspected pregnancy, we can actually ultrasound them just by cueing them to roll over and expose their stomach, which is really interesting when you think about it. But now Able and Keeper Jose have done a great job today, so we're going to give them a big thank you, a big round of applause. And shortly we'll be welcomed out by our next seal. Now, Able is a great example of different sea lions. So one that is native to Australia along the western southern coast of Australia, and his name is Movey. So Movey will be joining us in just a moment with Keeper Jose. And he is still a maturing male. He was actually born here, a part of our breeding program at the zoo, and his dad is actually downstairs at Seal Cove. His name is Charlie, and Charlie is a great example of what a fully mature Australian sea lion looks like, at least a male Australian sea lion. So in just a moment when he comes out, you'll be able to have a close look at his coloration, and you can see just how dark he is. Why don't we make them feel nice and welcome, hey? So today we actually have a training session that we'd like to demonstrate for you guys, and it's a behavior known as shape discrimination. So Moby is actually currently being trained to touch his nose to that silver star that Michelle has just there. So we're going to give him a few attempts, and if ever he does touch his nose to that star, we need everyone in the crowd to go wild for him so he knows that he's done a good job. So we'll give him an opportunity. Times. Now this behavior that you're witnessing, it's actually a training technique that we call target training, and it's a very simple training technique that we actually teach all of our animals here at the zoo, whether that's something as big as an elephant or as small as a possum. It involves training them to touch a specific part of their body to a target. Oh, he's thinking about it. And of course, in this case, it's Movey touching his nose to that silver star. So you can see just through this demonstration just how smart and intelligent these animals are. And each time we're making it a little bit harder for him by switching around the placement and of course introducing other shapes as well. Well, he's an absolute pro, and I think that is all for today. So we can give him one more round of applause. He has done